Hey Waffle Gang, I do hope you are well. My name is Mark and today we're checking out some more relationship stories, and if you do love a Reddit story, why not consider hitting that like, subscribe, maybe that notification bell too. Let's crack on with today's first story. Now today's first story comes from Anxiety Maybe Moving, who says, my 24 parents, 50 and 57, don't want me to move out because I'm not done cooking, but I want out. Hello r/relationships. I apologize in advance for the length. Sorry if this is a long ramble. I don't know how to put this in a narrative. So I have generalized anxiety disorder, which disrupted a lot of my life. And naturally, my parents are extremely protective of me. I would get panic attacks, go through extremely bad relationships, and worry over nonsensical things. They told me all my life not to worry about getting a job and to just let them pay for things. I would feel pretty guilty about this, especially since my parents were always giving money to my bio dad to take care of my severely autistic brother, and to my older sister who has a kid and has terrible money issues of her own from her own screw-ups. She crashes cars, got fired from work all the time, and more. So every chance I got, I would try to get a job. But my parents would always talk me out of it, saying I'm not worried and that they would take care of it. I was in high school, so I didn't have much free time anyway. This was fine as a teenager, but now I'm 23. I'm constantly driving between campuses in my internship, while also living an active social life and participating in the speech/debate team, which gives me a grant that covers half the tuition. I make straight A's despite any trouble I run into, and just today found out that since I turned 24 in September, I qualify for a Pell Grant that will cover my tuition. Not to mention, I'm only 6 classes away from graduating with my BA. My anxiety is also 10 times better and I feel extremely accomplished. Even my speech coaches have told me that they are proud of how far I've come. But every summer during my college years, I would try to find a job and my parents would make me quit. I only succeeded in keeping one job at a retail store, and they decided to push me to babysitting my brother so much I had to quit for the family. After I quit, my babysitting duties suspiciously subsided. I am only allowed $200 a month for food, expenses and gas, and since I go to school every day, back and forth in between my internship, this isn't enough to sustain myself. I tried to bargain for more. They said I need to budget. I offered to get a job. They say absolutely not. Thing is, this is my last year. My tuition is being paid for myself and I only take 3 classes a semester now. This would be perfect to get a job, to save up some money and to move out and transition to true independence. I also have an amazing loving boyfriend who wants to take the next step and have me move in with him. I'm delighted, but my parents 100% do not approve, despite him being so polite and making so much effort to get to know them. He bought my little brother 2 expensive Transformer toys and didn't receive any thank you from them at all, much less bothered to even talk to him. I feel so discouraged. I tried hinting that I want to leave, but they keep saying weird stuff like, you're not done cooking yet, and how I need to focus on my studies. Well, I've been focusing on my studies and obviously they are fine. When I told my stepdad about potentially having good news about my grant money, he immediately berated me. No, you are not moving out, even though I wasn't even going to talk about it. They put a lot of pressure on me to do impromptu milk runs in the middle of the night to take care of my brother while they go out. They say I can come and go as I please, but demand me to text where I am throughout the day and make extremely snide remarks on how I practically live at my boyfriend's, even though they established it was supposed to be absolutely fine. I'm getting sick of living here. I get berated for hanging my bar towel in the incorrect towel rack, have to stop at home to do the dishes between school and my internship, even though I'm barely home enough to do the dishes anyway. I get fussed at for not being home, but when I am home, they don't even acknowledge my existence unless they need something. I'm so tired of them seeing all my anxieties as me not being ready, and not seeing the strides I could make on my own. But I'm still conflicted. I don't want to lose them. I just want to move out and live my life freely and develop responsibility. I feel weird that they aren't even letting me do that. I don't feel like I'm even home here anymore. Edit. Wow. I never imagined my post would get this big. I'm extremely grateful for the advice and constructive criticism. I do think my parents have slight narcissism issues, but ultimately, in their weird way, they seem to think they are doing the best by me, while also taking extreme advantage of the situation. I'm applying to multiple part-time jobs and have been for a while, but the advice everyone has given out has just reaffirmed that I must do this. Once I get a job and have a decent amount of income, I'm going to let my mother know that I will move, and that she can't say anything to change my mind. I know she'll be pissed and that my stepdad will be enraged, but I suppose that's the cost of seeking happiness. I might schedule a therapist appointment in the meantime with someone who is quite familiar with how my mother can be, and seek her advice as well. Thank you everyone again. I truly appreciate the outside perspective. And we do have an update to this story, but Drunk on Martini says you're fully cooked, OP. You're overdone. You are a dry, stringy chicken breast all shriveled up in the bottom of the pan. Just move out. If you lose them because you insist on living a normal adult life, then you never had them to begin with. A deleted user says, even if you're graduated, they have some excuse. Stay here and save some money while you start your career, or possibly even, oh, your new career is too stressful for you. Why don't you just stay at home for a bit? This is a control thing. They want to keep you insulated from the big bad world because it gives them power over you. As you are coming to find out, perhaps the world can be stressful at times, but better to reach out into it than to close yourself off. Make a solid plan as far as getting your finances and schooling in order and make the jump. The job market is good in a lot of cities right now, even if it is basic part-time work to keep you going while you finish school. Something to look out for, especially if the idea of returning to living at home makes you nervous, is to make sure you've got a fallback plan in terms of your relationship and living situation. From your end, this looks like building an emergency fund as you start to work, which would be used for unexpected expenses that could crop up, car problems, school, or needing to move. I hope for the best with your boyfriend, as he sounds like he's been really supportive through all this. For your peace of mind though, and your feeling of independence, this is a nice thing to have. Feeling trapped in a combined relationship and living situation can create some weird dynamics between people. It's much better to feel like I'm here because I love this person and choose to stay, even though I've got the means to do otherwise. Liam says they want a free babysitter, maid and cleaning service and you are giving it to them. Stop letting them control and manipulate you. You now have the perfect chance to get out, run, and don't look back, and seriously evaluate how much contact you would like to have with them after you are gone. Yoga Butt says, in quotes, I tried hinting that I want to leave, but, and then says, do you need their blessing? Do you need your mum to pack your suitcase? You're free to go. The only person standing in your way is you. A good sign of being an adult is that you stop asking your parents for permission to do things. Just fucking move out. As for the anxiety, you'll probably find that once you're out on your own and learning to deal with stuff by yourself, it will go away. Looks like your parents are intentionally keeping you from growing and gaining independence. They want you to feel unprepared and have no fun so that you think you need them. They undermine your confidence. A parent's one job is to prepare their kid to be able to leave the nest and lead an independent life. Their goals seem to be the opposite. They think you're living for them, not for yourself. Fuck that. You might want to visit r/raised by narcissists. Ready Steady Pancake says, I think you only feel conflicted because they are manipulating you. Anyone with an outside perspective can see through that manipulation and tell you that you need to put your foot down and leave, not wait for their permission to leave. I'm the same age as you, but moved out at 17. Fairly standard where I lived, and I feel like I did most of my cooking and growing as an adult after that point. You can only cook so much if you're still in the mixing bowl and not the oven. This metaphor isn't super, but I think you see my point. And the last one from Earth Garden, who says in quotes, parents still won't let me out, and then says, how are they stopping you? You want to move out, so move out. They're not going to cut you from their life or anything. All they'll do is be upset for a bit. So what? You're an adult, get on with things. Look at it this way, one of your parents is 50 now, you are 24. That means when they were just a year older than you are now, You were on your way into the world. Depending on yours and their birthday, you might have been conceived when they were 24, so tell them that. If they were ready to have you at 24, surely you are ready to leave home. It's time, OP. You don't need their permission to be an adult at 24. And I think for me, the comments pretty much said it all in this situation. Like we say it time and time again. I know it's not easy to do when you're in the situation yourself, but you're 24, you are the adult. And I do question and was questioning myself throughout that story, why are they trying to keep you in the house? The questions in my mind at the time was it because of your anxiety and they was worried about you, being out in the world by yourself? Parents trying to look after their child, but it didn't quite feel like that to me. It sort of felt like, they were taking advantage and manipulating you, like some of the comments said, and it just very much felt like a control thing to me. But I'm guessing we're going to find out in the update in a second, so let's move on to that. So it says, a lot has happened. Let me just say, I appreciate everything you guys have told me. I reread your comments and it's amazing how many instances I ignored from my parents that was extremely wrong of them to do. Thank you so much for your advice and concerns. I felt extremely vindicated, but more than that, I finally felt not crazy, which was extremely important to me. Anyway, on to the update. So after reading all the comments, I made the decision to apply to jobs. I applied to all I could find and actually landed a decent paying job as a front desk associate. Also, I got 2 grants from my school to pay for my entire tuition and have some extra money. So yay! I landed the job, got my grant money and talked to my boyfriend. We both agreed that I should move out and he was more than willing to have me move in for $500 a month. I was thrilled and sat down with my parents. They did not take it well. They told me I couldn't live somewhere else and stay on their insurance. They told me I was making the worst decision of my life and threatened to take me off all insurance and cut me off completely. As a person who has to take Prozac every day to function like a normal human being, this terrified me. They told me they let me get a job this time, even though I did it behind their backs, but that moving out against the agreement they had with me. We never had an agreement. They simply told me I had to live with them, period. This broke my heart and my boyfriend decided to talk with them the next time with me. This time bringing a financial planning paper we both worked on to show we thought about things and we had a budget, and talked to his parents and they were thrilled and everything. My parents shot me down again, the entire meeting in front of my boyfriend. My parents told me I was incapable of living on my own, that I wouldn't last out there in the real world, and that I never finished anything I sought out to do. Even though I am a straight A student, even though I got not 1 but 2 college grants, even though I am literally a state champion in speech and debate, they guilted me and made me feel bad for wanting to move out, accusing me of abandoning the family, and told me flat out that I will fail, period. I would not be able to accomplish anything and that will be miserable. I'm not even exaggerating, they legit said I wouldn't accomplish anything. I then tried to compromise and asked them if I was to still live at home, to allow me to live a relatively free life to come and go, and if they wanted me to quit my job, give me a little bit more to live off of since I'm trying to make a life for myself out there. Nope. They said I belonged at home, period, for the sake of me being home in case they needed me. I don't mind helping out at all, but home for the sake of just being around, doing nothing. Writing this, I still feel like I'm plain out disobeying them and feeling guilty for feeling upset at how they treated me. I feel like I have to justify every sentence I say, and that in itself isn't right. I think they love me in their way, but I couldn't live with them anymore. At this moment, I realized my parents would never look at me and see anything but the mistakes I've made in my life, and see me as a crutch. I was so sad I didn't have their support, but I got out. Now I live with my boyfriend and things are good. We're still packing, but I've never felt happier. I look forward to going home now. I barely have panic attacks and my job is going very well. I'm learning how to budget for bills, and after fighting hard, I managed to get my parents to keep me on medical insurance, but I think I can make it work. Thanks again, everyone, for their advice. Just wanted to let you all know I took it and I don't regret it at all. And there was lots of great advice on this post towards OP, towards the medical stuff and what they can do that might help them, which I think is always fantastic to hear that people have their corner. But from OP's point of view, I think it's such a great, brave move for them. I know they're an adult, I know they're 24, but the way that they've been raised to think this is kind of normal for them, but then to finally realize, you know, no, this isn't normal and I need to break free from this and to do it and get the freedom and independence and learn how to live life by themselves independently with their boyfriend and have some freedom for themselves. I think that's a wonderful thing for OP. But what do you guys make of this one? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And let's move on to another story. Now this story comes from Naptide, who says, am I the arsehole for kicking a family graduation party out of the restaurant because the mum had written me an unhinged note last time I served her? I'm a server at a bar and grill place. A few weeks ago, a lady came in for drinks with a dude and left me an unhinged note on a napkin, calling me a slut for wearing shorts and a crop top while working in 90-degree heat at a sports bar. So my co-workers and I thought it was actually pretty funny, and we framed the napkin and the check with the word whore on the spot where the tip goes on the wall. Her signature was also legible. We also added her name to the do not serve list just in case she came back, since we didn't want any trouble. It's not like that was weird for that place to have funny stuff hung up. We have all sorts of old Polaroids, drawings, etc. taken with patrons or drawn by them. It's the kind of place where we made a chalk sign quoting bad Yelp reviews as a joke. I didn't expect to see the lady back again. Like, she obviously had poor time, so why would she come back? Well, last week a big party had a reservation. I believe a family's college graduation party, and I was going round the table checking IDs, and the name on one looked familiar. I took a better look at the lady and I realized it was the same person who wrote the unhinged note. So I gave her ID back and said, I'm sorry, I can't serve you. I'm going to ask you to leave. She said she was of age and didn't understand what the problem was. Her family had made the reservation weeks in advance. I said, yes, I'm aware, but your name is on our do not serve list. She started getting mad, saying I didn't know what I was talking about. She had never been spoken to before about this, and her husband and a guy who was either a father or father-in-law started backing her up. I went to grab the frame off the wall with a napkin and I read it aloud. And then I said, the establishment has a policy, we cannot serve people who behave erratically or aggressively after drinking. And I was happy to serve the rest of the group, but I'd have to ask her to leave. A couple of my guy co-workers gathered around to back me up. She started screaming at me. It was her son's graduation and also trying to snatch the frame. I ended up getting kinda petty and saying, Mom, that's the restaurant's copy of the receipt. You were given your own copy. I'm going to need to ask you to leave. Her husband said, let's just leave, and the whole group left together, which was honestly more than I intended. Also, yikes at the rest of them leaving with her. I feel bad for the kid whose whole celebration dinner got ruined because the rest of the family would rather enable his mum than stick around to celebrate. And her husband yelled at me about how he was going to call my manager, which was funny because my manager was the one who bought the frame for her unhinged little note. The kid looked really ashamed and stressed through this though, and I felt pretty bad because he was just trying to celebrate his graduation and it's not like it's his fault, his mum is a little crazy. Am I the arsehole for having kicked the lady out of the restaurant? Edit. I'm honestly pretty shocked at all the people being like, of course the group all left. You'll enable your families like that. No wonder there's so many adults out there who can't act right. Favor to ask from a server. If this ever happens, please don't leave. Having a large table leave their reservation during peak hours without a tip really screws the staff over. And it teaches the fool in your group they can just keep doing that next to the server. If you can stay and give the establishment business to make up for the BS your family member caused, please do. Or if you really do want to leave, please at least tip for the trouble caused. But just up and leaving is honestly a lot more disrespectful to the staff and is enabling kind of aggro BS. Edit 2. I was wrong about my first edit. A number of people in the comments pointed out it could be a domestic abuse situation, and I have no idea what the consequences would have been for other family members if they did stay. Possibly bad seeing how unhinged she was. It hadn't occurred to me. I've been lucky enough to grow up in a healthy family that can call each other out without fear. but you'll open my eyes to the fact that not everyone is that lucky, and I shouldn't assume other people would be safe to do the same things I would do. You know, she was the one that was incredibly rude the first time around, so she went on the do not serve list, which is absolutely fine. Servers shouldn't have to put up with this shit, it's quite simple as. But then the rest of the group made their own decision on the matter. They're the ones that all got up and decided to leave, and that's on them. You handled it right, you were just following policy, and I think that's all there is to it from my point of view. But on this one, I'm going to turn it straight to you guys. What do you guys make of this situation? Do you have a different opinion on the matter? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. Now, as always, just a huge thank you from the bottom of my heart for getting involved in today's stories. Your love, support, and time always means the absolute world to me. So thank you so much for getting involved, sharing your comments, showing love to one another. It's absolutely incredible. Never forget how amazing that is, truly. And if you'd like a different format to listen to, mark-narrations.com, and you can pick out your favorite podcast there if you choose to do so. Or head on to patreon.com/marknarrations if you'd like to support the channel further. Never any pressure though, it's never expected, but always appreciated. So thank you so much, and hopefully I will see you in the next one. Take care guys, and much love.
Wake up, get up, stretch my legs, eat some breakfast, milk and eggs, brush my teeth up, wash my face, throw my clothes on, start my day. Wake up, I can smell the smoke from the bacon. Let's go, see the sun shining from the windows. Okay, I know that today